after 20 plus years that translation is still the most difficult thing.
Right, right.
Because there's so many parts of Thai with English that I've just never connected.
Yeah.
And someone asked a question, what's that mean in English? I said, well, I've never thought about that before. Let me think about it and I'll tell you.
หมูอีกแล้วหมูนะอันที่ตัวใหญ่ขึ้นคุณเองชอบหมูนะชอบครับชอบกินหมูอันที่คิดว่าเป็นแม่อันนี้เป็นลูกแต่งงานเป็นหมูอันนี้ตัวใหญ่ขึ้น
That was one of the observations I made now during this year in Taiwan, was that the kids, actually globally, I think kids are learning English from very, very young ages. It's being pushed on them. It's effectively the only foreign language that's being taught for the most part in the world. And then Chinese probably number 2. But all other languages have fallen away. And it's all these natural approaches to English. And what you're winding up with is kids that, particularly in Asia, their reading level, when they're 7 or 8 years old, their reading level in English may be a lot higher than their reading level in their native tongue. And there's absolutely no connection between the two. And I've just seen really bizarre things where how does this kid not, how is he not getting it, or why doesn't he know this? And it's because there's an absolute firewall between his Chinese and his English.
ข้างในไม่กินนะเครื่องในไม่กินผ่าออกมาแล้วก็หัวใจไม่กินตับไม่กินลิ้นไม่กินจมูกไม่กินตาไม่กินหูไม่กินขา
Yeah, I guess I've never thought of it as a firewall. That might be an accurate description. What we feel like is important is the ability to express yourself in the language well, capably, so that the person who is native in that language understands in their context what you mean.
Exactly.
Anytime you go from translation, if I'm going to translate something in English, I'm starting with my English or American expressions, ideas, thoughts, feelings, culture, and all of that. And now I'm going to transfer that into Thai words. What I'm really doing is finding a way to express English with different sounds.
Yes, yes.
But not Thai meanings, and that's the key difference. Now when I go over into Thai, and I'm expressing myself in Thai, I'm having Thai feelings and expressions and thoughts and sounds and all of that makes sense in a Thai context.
Yeah.
The firewall there isn't between language and language as much as
culture and culture. Yeah.
And interestingly, I can switch, express in English or express in Thai without even being aware of it.
Right.
But to translate
is very difficult.
Completely different thing.
Yeah, I agree. I strongly agree. My experience at translation school was that people that were raised bi and trilingually tended to be the worst translators.
Yes. I remember you wrote about that.
Yeah.
It was an interesting article.
Yeah. That's been my experience. But now in this year in Taiwan, where I thought a lot about, for example, you mentioned about English teachers in Thailand using Thai in the classroom, foreigners using Thai in the classroom, and you said all it does is confuse the students. That is a generally accepted statement. Pretty much across the board, everyone says, no, you confuse the children when you, for one thing, because children need to know each adult in his own language, so that when they see David Long, they know that they speak English, or when they see a white face, they speak English, and when they see an Asian face, they speak Thai. And then the father brings his Korean colleague home, and suddenly the kid gets really confused about what to do. But really interesting is that I've noticed that kids know to speak to Koreans and Japanese in English before they would talk to them in Thai. But just another point along that was that what you just said a moment ago is that in addition to the fact that you're confusing the kid by speaking Thai, is that you're translating. That English teacher has such a minimal understanding of Thai and Thai culture that when he believes he's helping the kid by translating something, even if the kid understands what he's saying, even if his pronunciation is dead on, it completely has a different meaning, and the child gets further confused.
I think that probably would depend on the child and a lot of other factors. But basically, if a person is looking to acquire language, translation is not the way to go.
Yeah.
You can't do it through translation.
Yeah.
The foundation of Thai language is not English.
Yeah.
And the foundation of English is not Thai.
Yeah.
And so, to try to base one on the other is already doing injustice to the language and the culture from the start.
Yeah.
หนักครับ
ช้างตัวใหญ่
นะถ้าจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยช้างตัวใหญ่นะแต่ถ้าเป็นสองอันนี้นะหมูเนี่ยข้างในไม่มีอะไรนะแต่ช้างเนี่ยเห็นไหมนะช้างเนี่ยข้างในมีเงินนะจริงๆข้างในเนี่ยใส่เงินไม่ได้นะแต่
All right, Mr. David Long, thank you very much for your time.
You are welcome. Thank you.
And I promise I won't speak Thai till I'm ready. 800 to 2,000 hours may sound like a lot of time to learn a foreign language, but remember that native speaker children go to school all day in their native tongue, and they may be memorizing lists of vocabulary for the first 7, 8, even 10 years of school. Now, ALG doesn't want you to focus on vocabulary or grammar or language. We want you to focus on communication. But just to put it into perspective, 800 to 2,000 hours is about right. There's no reason why you should expect to learn it faster than a child born in that country. If we are going to count vocabulary lists, for example, I've been tested in Chinese where I've scored between 3,000 and 4,000 words of Chinese. And yet I can't read a newspaper because they aren't the right words. It would probably take years or maybe never happen that my Chinese textbooks would reach a level of reading that's equivalent to a newspaper. Being in an ALG classroom, one of the classes that you'll attend is news, where we'll be discussing the global financial crisis, the latest events in the world, the war, the economy, all sorts of vocabulary and concepts that an adult would need to communicate. Remember, children don't actually learn language faster. However, a 5-year-old may only have vocabulary of 1,000 or 1,500 words in his native tongue. So when he learns 1,000 or 1,500 words of a foreign language, everyone considers him bilingual. For an adult, 1,000 or 1,500 words is nothing. Not even close. I'm Antonio Graceffo. We're at AUA Ratchadamri, that's in Bangkok, Thailand, and we're learning Thai through the ALG method. Automatic language growth. And as always, keep studying, keep trying, but most of all, keep listening.